Today on Mercedes Garage, Mercedes inline 6-cylinder gasoline engines on Mercedes Garage. Hi and welcome back to another episode of Mercedes Garage. Today we'll be talking about the inline 6-cylinder gasoline engines from Mercedes, starting, from about 1924 to 1951. We'll cover a few of them. So then there'll be another part 2 to this because it's going to be a little long. This shouldn't be that long, so I won't bore everybody with this. Okay, so we'll get right into it. The first engine is an M836, and that was from 1924 to 1929. It's a 3.9 to 4 liter. As you can see on the screen, it was a it had the switchable supercharger, which in a previous video I explained how they had the 10 to 20 or the 30. In this case it was a 15/70/100, and here's a picture of one right now, as you can see on the screen. That was done to prevent being taxed by the German horsepower tax. So really the car had 15 horsepower, but it was switchable to 70 to 100 with the supercharger. So that's basically, there's not much on this because it's a long time ago. It's almost 100 years ago. It had the top speed was 70 miles per hour, which was not bad for the 20s, early 20s. The next engine is the M9456. And don't ask why they have a 4-digit number instead of a 3-digit. I don't know. This was also in the 24/100/140 and here's a picture of one. Nice car. It's yellow with blood. That was produced up until 1920, from 24 to 29. Yeah, 24 to 29. And that generated, you got about 75 horsepower, 75 miles per hour. It's a 6.2 to 6.4 liter inline 6. The next engine is an M101, which there's nothing on that, so we'll skip that one to the M02 engine, which was made from 1926 to 1933. This one only got a top speed of 47 miles per hour, and here's the car it was in. It was in the Stuttgart 200 W202. W202, I'm sorry. Which happens to be the same engine as the M02. Don't ask why they were doing that. I don't know. And it was used in various cars at that time. Forgive me, I don't know that much about pre-war Mercedeses, so I don't think really there's not many are left because it's not around. The M03 engine, which was from 1926 to 1927, This is a 3-liter inline 6. And this was the car it was in the W03. And this is in a museum. Most of these cars will be in museums or private collections because they're very rare. They didn't make that many in over almost 100 years ago. So, like I said, this is saying about the horsepower tax. This was a 12/55. So it was taxed at 12 horsepower, but you really got 55 horsepower. And it was used in various cars, type 320, type 350. Let's see what the next, let's just go back to the next one. The next one is the M04, which was from 1927 to 1928. And here's a picture of what an inline 6-cylinder engine looks like. It's just basically the pistons are all in a straight line. This generated 54 horsepower. No, 54 horsepower, and it was a 12/55. I don't know why it says 55 when it said 54. The next engine was an M09, and that was in the W03. I'm just waiting for this to go to the next engine here. Please bear with me. Okay, it should have gone. The next engine is the M06. This was a 6.8 liter to 7.1 liter and was in the SSK. Let's see what other car. It was a supercharged engine. Excuse me, well, I'm bending down, so if you're seeing my balding head, I have to look at the screen. This was the car it was in. This was more of a racing engine. The next engine is an M10 or M10. I'll call it that. It was from 1929 to 1933. It was a 3. I went too quick. Here's the car it's in. A 370S from 1931. 29 to 35. It was in several different. The Mannheims. 380S, W19, 380S, 370K, and a 370 type Mannheim type. The next engine is an M11. It was a 2.6 liter from 1929 to 1935. Again, it was the 10/50. And that's all part of the German horsepower tax. So it would be calculated as a lesser tax. We're waiting for this to go to the next page. It was in the Type 260 to Type 260S, I think. So M15 is only a 1.7 liter. This was from 1931 to 1936. It was in 32 horsepower. It was in the W15. Got 26 miles a gallon, which was not bad for the 1930s. Had a different gear ratio that we'll get into some other time. And we'll just stop for a second and just say, as you can see, it's a little confusing with these earlier engines because they're not at a fixed horsepower. That's why they did that, because of the tax laws. Eventually they will become a fixed horsepower, meaning it will be, I don't know, 80 horsepower, and it'll stay there. Some were. I'm not saying all of them were like this. This is an M18 engine, which was in production from 1933 to 1937. This just, oh, there it is. Just froze on me. Where's the applications? It should be in. 1 second. It was in various models. They used the same engines for more than just 1 or 2 cars. Here's the W21. This is a different engine. This is the what engine is this? The W21. Where's the engine? One second. The car was made in the early 30s. Let's see when the engine. It was used as taxis. This was basically the pre-V170, the M21 engine. I just wanted to. What's getting a little confusing is the engines were the same as the body style of the engine. The next engine is the M143 and the W143. And here's a picture of the W143, which was in the mid to late 30s, 1937. So it was the Type 230N in 1937. It was Type 230, 37 to 41. They made a diesel version of that same car, which would not be that. So back in that era, they were using the engine number was also the body style. M142 was the next engine, and that was in the W142 and the 320A. And here's a picture of the W142. Very nice looking old sports car. The 320A was also more luxury of a coupe. Well, it's not a coupe, it's a convertible or coupe. Increased the engine horsepower volume was increased. It was more of a. I think the next one. Wait for this to go back. The M153 was from 39 to 43. This used the Soadex 30J FFK carburetor. Let's see how many horsepower this one had. It's a 2.3 liter. Here's the horsepower. About 40 horsepower. And it's in the W153, and here's a picture of the car that it was in. The next one is an M159, which there's no information on that. And the next one is the M180 engine. And this was used in many different cars from 19... Let's go down. This needs to go down. Sorry, please bear with me. Here's a picture of the engine. very similar to the 123 engines, the diesel engines. This was made from, it was in the W111, I'll get you the date, what it was, the W187, W105 pontoon. No, W105 is not the pontoon. UMOG 404, the pontoon W180, 220S sedan, which is also the W111, W108/109, W112. It was used a lot. M129 was the same as the 180. Pretty much, it's in that same family of engine. It was just the displacement of the bore of the cylinder was bigger. The M114 engine used a Bosch D-Jet, and the M130 used a Soladex carburetor again. And the M123 engine was also around too. And this was made from 1951 to 1985. So they got many years of use out of this engine in many different vehicles. It was used, and it was also used in the Adenauer. That's not the right picture. So that won't be in there. So I think that's pretty much where we'll leave off with the inline six. Let me get this back. Yes, that was the last one. So we'll end that on the M180 engine and its many variants over the 51 to 85. That's 60, 70, about 35 years that engine was in production for. So we'll leave it on that one. So that ends this episode. So thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the 37 subscribers. If you liked this video, hit the thumbs up. Please comment below. And until next time, keep on motoring in your Mercedes-Benz. Thank you for watching.